Hello, hello. Today is day 147 of my 365-day raw suspending disbelief journey. It is September 16th, 2024, and today was the fourth of 4 days that I had given myself off to restore my energy and just sort of get caught up on things and just follow my energy. So I did just that. I allowed myself to do the things that felt amazing, and so I ended up getting some work things done. I ended up getting some of the to-do list crossed off, things like that. And I also just watched TV. I also just sort of relaxed and did things at my own pace. And sort of, I think I sort of hit a point of like, okay, I'm done just sort of relaxing. I just had no more desire to just relax, and really dove into some of the things that I wanted to get done, that have been on my mind that feel amazing to get off my mind, and um, a lot to do with like podcast stuff. This podcast, the Spiral of the Rose podcast with Kelly, and the Heartbeats Harbor podcast as well, which relaunched at the beginning of September. And I didn't really do a launch for that one, because of everything else that was going on. So I've sort of, I took the time to work on some graphics. I've got guest episodes this season. I've got, I pulled sound bites. I did all of that kind of fun stuff. I edited episodes, got them scheduled out. All of these sorts of things that sort of weren't the fires that needed to be put out, right? They were the things that kept getting put on the back burner, but they are also adding up in my mental to-do list. So it feels really good to get them off my plate, to allow them to sort of just um, be dealt with, post scheduled, all of that kind of thing, so that I don't have to think about them anymore. And that in and of itself, even though it was a lot of actual work that I did on this, quote unquote, relaxing day, that actually did help to relax me a lot. It took a lot of the things off of my plate so that I can focus on the day-to-day stuff. And of course, there are ongoing things that I need to do as far as the podcasts go, but they won't be all at once, as well as all of the big other list of things. So, feeling a sense of relief about that, feeling like everything is, coming to, with the clarity I got yesterday and the things I crossed off the list today, I just feel so much more ready to tackle this week, going back into working and all of that. I also did some just sort of self-reflection, and I really decided to set my boundary more firmly for Sundays to be off. Previously, Sunday was always my day off of social media. And then my schedule changed with my two youngest kids' dad. And I always ended up having the kids on Saturday and not on Sunday. And so I switched it so that I was not on social media on Saturday and just being present with the kids. And not that there's anything wrong with that, but not being on social media was also a a time for me to tune inwards and to spend that time on myself and to come back to calm. And having it be on a day when I have all three of my kids. And usually, we've got family get-togethers, or we've got, different festivities to go to, different festivals or fun plans that we come up with, birthday parties, whatever. There always seems to be something. My non-social media day of the week became also not a restful day, where previously my non-social media day was my most restful day. It was the day that I was always doing all of my spiritual maintenance. I was setting my protections for the week, doing ultimate clearing of my energy, like just really, really tuning inwards, really, really spending time on clearing my energy, clearing the energy of my home, clearing my kids' energy, setting all of our protections, doing, clearing all of my crystals, my decks, everything. Like I spent most of every Sunday doing that. And I have lately, because I decided, Saturday is my social media free day. Lately I've ended up working a lot on Sundays. I also do some of that spiritual maintenance, but I haven't been doing as much of it. And so as I reflected on that, I realized that I needed to take it from working 6 days a week down to 5, and, maybe allow myself to work for an hour or two on weekend days, but that's it. And really be mindful of that boundary for myself, and give myself a day with my kids and a day without my kids, both off of social media, where I can be present with my kids and present with myself, and slow down and refill my cup and not allow myself to get so wrapped up in all of the work stuff, because it really is endless if we let it be. And this is, I preach this, right? I say it all the time. And I know, I don't want to say I know better. I do know better, but that it's not that I made a wrong choice necessarily. It's just that the way that I set things up for myself was not as effective as I guess I thought it was going to be. So when I switched it to Saturdays, I didn't think it through fully. I didn't look at it from all angles. And I didn't realize I wasn't going to have that full day restoration for myself each week, without my kids. And there is a week a month where I don't have that anyways. I've got my kids here for 2 days or whatever. Or for Saturday and for Sundays, but most weeks they go to their dads for the Sunday. So that is my new plan. And the great thing is that I get to decide that for myself. I get to change that. I don't have to answer to anybody for that. I can adjust my availability myself. I can reschedule things that I have allowed to be booked on Sundays. I can, coming from all angles, the beauty of this is that I have the ultimate and final say in my life. And knowing that I am more than worthy of having that day off to myself, as well as having a day off with my kids. It's not even a hard decision to make. It was just something that I needed to look at, and I needed to slow down enough for a few days to see it. So I'm really glad, I'm really grateful that I gave myself this time over the last few days, that I have been able to be more introspective and not think about, not worry about anything outward, for the most part. And I won't say that I was perfect with it, but I did pretty good, actually. There were a couple of messages that I sent and things like that, but for the most part, I stayed completely off and and disconnected from other people's energy, aside from Cadence, my oldest, because she was home in the evenings, right? But yeah, just really allowing myself to sort of anchor into that gratitude for myself for choosing to stop, for choosing to put myself first, because it's so important that we do that. And when we don't, we get to where I was, which you're all aware of. And thanks to the daily sharing of this podcast. So, interesting. I haven't been talking much, and now talking, I'm like, why is my throat tickling? It's actually late. I hyper focused a little bit and stayed up a little bit later than I planned. So maybe my body is just telling me to go to bed. So I will wrap it up for today, and that is what I have to share with you anyway. So I will talk to you all tomorrow.